For so many families living in Singapore, planning a Pind Daan pilgrimage to India is one of the most important things you can do. But let's be honest, figuring out how to bridge that distance, well, it can feel like a huge task. So in this explainer, we're going to break it all down for you. A clear, practical guide to help you make this sacred journey happen.
You know, this quote really just hits home, doesn't it? It perfectly captures what this is all about. This isn't just about a ceremony or a ritual. It's about connecting with your heritage, about honoring the people who gave you life. It's a journey that carries so much meaning.
So that's the big question, right? You're in a bustling, modern city like Singapore, and you want to fulfill this timeless spiritual duty in the holy lands of India. How do you actually connect those two worlds? Well, that is exactly the plan we're here to map out for you, step by step.
Okay, so before we get into itineraries and flights and all the logistics, it's absolutely crucial that we understand the why behind it all. Let's start with the spiritual heart of Pind Daan. So what exactly is Pind Daan? Well, at its core, it's a sacred Hindu ritual for our ancestors who have passed on. The main offering is something called pindas. These are rice balls that are meant to nourish and bring peace to their souls. The ultimate goal here is to offer them shanti, which is profound peace, and help them on their path to moksha, total liberation from the cycle of birth and rebirth.
And here's something amazing. According to the ancient scriptures, the Puranas, this isn't just a one-way gift. It's believed that when the souls of the ancestors, the Pitrus, are satisfied, they send blessings back to their living family. Blessings for a long and healthy life, for children, for prosperity, and for genuine happiness.
All right, so we've got the why down. The next massive question is, of course, where? Now, you can perform these rites in many holy places, but there's a special trio of cities in India, a holy triumvirate, if you will, where the spiritual power is considered off the charts.
Each of these three sacred spots has its own unique, incredible power. Gaya is really seen as the number one, the most important destination for these ancestral rites. Then you have Prayagraj, the king of holy places, right where three sacred rivers meet. And finally, Varanasi, also known as Kashi, the city of Lord Shiva himself, a place believed to grant instant liberation.
So let's dive in a little deeper, starting with Gaya. This place is considered the absolute pinnacle for repaying that sacred debt to our ancestors. Seriously, its importance in the scriptures just cannot be overstated.
Get this. According to the Puranas, the very act of just walking towards Gaya helps your ancestors ascend to heaven. The rituals performed here aren't just for one person. They can help liberate the entire family line. And so importantly, they can grant salvation even to souls who may have died in an unnatural way. The key spots you'll visit for these rites are Pradeshila, the incredible Vishnupad temple, and the immortal banyan tree, Akshayavat.
Now for the really practical side of things, let's talk numbers. The estimated cost for the standard rituals in Gamane can range from about 104 to 454 Singapore dollars. This usually covers the priest, all the materials you'll need, and the ceremonies at those key holy sites. Okay, next up on our journey is Prayagraj. Its nickname is Tirtharaj, the king of all holy places, and its immense power comes from the Triveni Sangam, the sacred meeting point of not two, but three holy rivers, the Ganga, the Yamuna, and the mythical, invisible Saraswati.
The spiritual focus here is all about that confluence, the Sangam. It's said that a holy dip right there can wash away all sins, and any offerings you make with a pure heart will fulfill the desires of your ancestors. And what's really unique is that the rituals themselves are often performed right on a boat, out in the middle of those sacred waters.
So what about the cost? Well, the rites in Prayagraj, which include that boat trip out to the Sangam, are estimated to be between 104 and 161 Singapore dollars. That makes it a very accessible and powerful option for pilgrims.
And that brings us to the final city in our holy trio, Varanasi, the ancient city of Kashi. As the sacred home of Lord Shiva, it holds a very special promise, the chance to receive moksha, complete and total liberation from the cycle of life and death.
The belief here is incredibly powerful. The scriptures say that a Shraddh ritual performed in Kashi can guide a soul straight to liberation. In fact, its spiritual merit is often considered equal to a rite performed in Gaya. The Panchganga Ghat is a particularly sacred place where it's believed the ancestors are waiting for these offerings.
And just to complete our little budgeting overview, the standard rituals in Varanasi are estimated at right around 104 Singapore dollars. So now we've got a handle on the spiritual significance, the key locations, and the costs.
So we've covered the why and the where. Now let's get into the practical how. How do you actually piece all this together? Here is a suggested 5-day itinerary that's designed to be spiritually complete but also really efficient, especially for those of you traveling with limited time.
This whole itinerary is built for efficiency. You see, you'll start with the rites in Prayagraj on day 2, then you use Varanasi as a home base for its own rituals and to witness the breathtaking Ganga Aarti. Then the journey moves to Gaya, building up to the main Pind Daan rites on the very last day. This positions you perfectly to depart right after you've completed the most important ceremony of the trip.
Finally, let's tackle the last piece of the puzzle. And for many, it's the biggest one, the journey from Singapore itself. Here's a quick rundown of what you need to know to get there.
First thing to know, there are no direct flights from Singapore to these cities, so you will need a layover. You'll typically connect through major hubs like Delhi, Mumbai, or Kolkata. The key takeaway here is that you can generally expect a round-trip flight to fall somewhere in the 250 to 500 Singapore dollar range, which gives you a really solid number to start budgeting with.
Now, to make your planning a whole lot smoother, keep these tips in mind. Booking 2 to 3 months in advance is your best bet for getting good prices. And just a heads up, prices will definitely climb during the peak season, which runs from October to March, especially around the holy period of Pitru Paksha. And like we said, just remember to always factor in at least one stopover in your travel time. So when you look at the whole picture, it's really this beautiful combination, isn't it? You have this ancient, deeply sacred duty, and you're making it happen with modern, practical planning. It's about bridging worlds, not just geographically from Singapore to India, but spiritually from the present to the past, all to honor your roots.
And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. When you have this timeless act of devotion, and you're planning it with modern precision, using flight websites and detailed itineraries, what does a journey like this really teach us about how faith and tradition are alive and well in our super-connected 21st century world?